Gentleman yields back. Now I'm going to recognize myself for 5 minutes. I've had a lot of members yield me time, but now we're going to ask my questions. Commissioner, in this hearing, you have said that the term harm reduction is an industry term or a term that industry uses. But to be clear, the Institute of Medicine used this term in the title of its report titled Clearing the Smoke, Assessing the Science Base for Tobacco Harm Reduction. So it's not just industry that uses this term. The Institute of Medicine uses it. And the concept of harm reduction has been embraced in other countries. That is, they accept and communicate that there are options that are less risky than a traditional cigarette. Are we ever going to get to that point in this country? Do you accept this idea?
Definitely accept the idea. Your point is well taken that industry is not the only entity to use it, but what I want to avoid, speaking of harm reduction, we've talked about combustible tobacco kills people. Neither using vaping or combustible tobacco is the healthiest thing you can do. Vaping, compared to none of the above, has residues that are quite concerning for long-term use. So if you're a combustible tobacco user, if you switch to vaping, that's less harm. That's good, as long as the product is not packaged in a way that's encouraging youth to get addicted to nicotine. One of the main harms I want to get away from is millions of youth being addicted to nicotine by vaping products. So we got to find that middle ground, and I accept there's a point here. I'm just worried that when we use the term harm reduction now, it's often part of a vast advertising campaign that's not taking account of the addiction side in youth.
But you admit that vaping is less harmful than cigarettes. I mean, we've...
Right, admitting it sounds like I'm confessing of something. No, I agree. I agree.
Right. So let's talk about all the applications that have been submitted, millions of applications. I think you've approved 25 or something. This
almost 27 million
have been applied.
Right.
Have requested application, but you haven't approved, but just a handful. So, is the reason for the backlogs? Is that going to? Are you working on it? Are you trying to approve more? Or are you just throwing the towel in and say we're just not going to have anything? Or
no, we're working every day. And
so you think there'll be more
approval? As Commissioner, I meet with the Center for Tobacco Products leadership every week, and we go over this. But again, we can only approve a product by law if the company produces the data that demonstrates that they meet the public health standard. That is, that the reduction in risk that we just talked about to adults who use combustible tobacco offsets the addiction.
And you've heard a lot of people ask this question on both sides of the aisle. And we don't agree on a whole lot in this committee in a bipartisan manner, but the FDA's refusal to approve these new tobacco products has created a thriving market for illegal and unsafe products, primarily from China. These products receive warning letters from FDA, but I don't think China loses a whole lot of sleep over a warning letter from a U.S. governmental agency, especially in the Biden administration. So a lot of people have questions as to why there's so many of these Chinese products, counterfeit products on the market. They ask us. That's why so many different members have asked you about it. I mean, what's the reason? What are we supposed to say? Why we say it's FDA's responsibility? So why is FDA enabling these Chinese products? I believe there's a solution here.
I wouldn't use the term enabling, but I would say that this is a huge production issue coming out of China into our ports. We need to stop the use of illegal products.
Well, this administration has proven it's unable to do anything at the border with respect to security, but wouldn't a foreign manufacturer rule address this problem? A rule that pertains to foreign manufacturers from the FDA for this?
I mean, as we said many times today, we're the referees. You make the rules. So if you choose to do that, you may. I would also say a lot of profits being made in the vaping industry. If they paid if they had user fees, we would put a lot
Are these
more.
Chinese companies paying the user fees?
Whoever sold the product would have to pay the user fee.
Last question with respect to CBD. What do you foresee over the next 12 months from FDA with respect to CBD? Do you see any action, or are you mentioned you're close, you're communicating on the Center for Tobacco, but what about the shifting gears here with CBD oil, industrial hemp, and things like that? Is FDA close to making any decision on anything?
I think it's Congress's decision to make, so we would really look forward to working with you all as quickly as possible to come up with a regulatory pathway that you think is reasonable and enables us to take action.
Well, my time has expired, and I'm going to yield to the ranking member. This concludes the questioning phase, unless Mr. Conley's on his way back or anything. I don't think. Okay. Well, we appreciate you being here, and I'm going to yield to ranking member Raskin if he has any closing remarks.